Speaking of Northwestern, the school named Tim Nollan as its new volleyball coach earlier this month. Nollan, coming to NU from Grand Canyon, has been the coach there the last 8 seasons. The Antelopes won better than 72% of their games over his final 5 years in Phoenix, breaking through this season to make their first ever NCAA tourney. And Tim Nollan, kind enough to join us now. Coach, welcome to the Big Ten. Welcome to the Big Ten Network. What appealed to you most about this opportunity at Northwestern?
Well, there's so much to love, but being at an elite school like Northwestern in the best conference for women's volleyball in the country in the Big Ten, and having that support network with an administration that is incredibly invested, and the caliber of student athletes here is just incredible. We just came out of practice a little bit ago, and they're just such great, young, vibrant people. I felt like this was a great opportunity for me to come here with my family and build a program here that is going to represent Chicago and this university at the highest level.
Well, you built quite a program at Grand Canyon, and it was an interesting evolution. I mean, you took over a program that was transitioning from Division II to Division I, so I imagine there's a lot of complications in there, just in terms of getting a better caliber of player to compete at a higher level, and then just gradually got better and better, culminated in, as I said, in that NCAA tournament bid this past year. What are you proudest of that you accomplished there, Coach?
I'm proudest of the student athletes and their commitment to each other. They excelled in the classroom. We impacted Greater Phoenix with our community service and our relations with the community, and watching them go out and then compete at the highest level. And, NCAA tournament, we played the number 10 team in the country at their place and stood toe to toe. Second set went to extras, and I felt like we had opportunities that we put ourselves in a great piece. But just really proud of the evolution of that program and the student athletes' commitment to it, to building a foundation that program is going to live on for years to come.
So now you take over at Northwestern, and the program has been reasonably competitive here over the last few years, but they haven't had a winning record in conference play in the Big Ten since the 1980s. So you've mentioned, look, it's a really difficult league. Maybe that's more of a commentary on how good the league is than on Northwestern. But what's the formula there, do you think, for getting Northwestern to a point where it competes in the top half of the league?
Well, you summed it up really well. I mean, this league is a monster, and next year it's only getting better. And so I think the formula for Northwestern is really specific. We need to recruit the elite kids in the country out of high school, get them here, train them, develop them, invest in them, pour into them, make sure they experience all the incredible things that this university has to offer. And then we're going to graduate them. And along the way, we're going to try and win some championships. There's no quick formula for anything. I think building a program, not just a team, but a program, is a process. And we've already started the process here. Just investing in the current student athletes we have and going out and recruiting hard this past weekend and looking at how we can fill out the roster for next fall. But again, we're building a program here, and it's not just a one season thing. I want to build a program here that can have sustainable and repeatable success.
Northwestern went 2 months without a coach. This was a prolonged search. What was your first order of business when you got there, just in terms of connecting with the players and getting them to feel like they were moored at the school?
Yeah, it's developing those relationships with student athletes. The programs I run are very relationship driven. It's really important that the student athletes know we care about them. They're not just commodities. They're people. We want to invest in them. We want to help them grow and develop in life as well as volleyball. And I think just starting that relationship process as soon as I got hired, we've been meeting with players, Zooms, face-to-face, just making sure we get to know each other and building that relationship and that trust.
Well, let's get to know you a little bit. You are a West Coast guy through and through. You grew up in California. You went to USC and Pepperdine. You've been an assistant at both of those schools, and then your time at Grand Canyon as well. What is this move to the Midwest? Like, how do you view coming to a completely different part of the country?
For my family and I, it was a great opportunity. Chicago's a world-class city. We're not moving to, the middle of nowhere. We're moving to one of the best cities in the country, to be one of the best universities in the country. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
You were an associate head coach for 3 years at USC, included national championships in there. You know, USC obviously coming into the league next year. Northwestern actually hosts USC next season. Again, you went to school there. Have you allowed your mind to wander at all about what that's going to be like?
Oh, it's going to be incredible. You know, it's going to be a great high-level volleyball match. USC is an incredibly storied program that, you know, I had the honor of being part of some of that history and, you know, hanging a couple banners on the wall and going to some Final Fours and a national championship. And I can't wait to get them here in Chicago and show them how we're going to do things here.
So it's interesting to look at kind of that West Coast experience that you have, Coach. And as you mentioned, look, the league is expanding, obviously USC and UCLA, but also Oregon and Washington as well. How could that familiarity with that area of the country help you in terms of opening up new recruiting areas and also just kind of the notion of, you know, these schools, you know, these programs?
Sure. I think it's all valuable experience. I mean, we're going to recruit coast to coast. We're going to search for the best athletes. Certainly having the league expand into that time zone is going to open that recruiting up, honestly, for a lot of the teams in the league. We're different than all the other institutions, and we're certainly going to showcase that to the recruits we see. But in terms of familiarity, you know, those are all great established programs, incredibly competitive, incredibly high level. But, you know, having familiarity with those venues, with those staffs, quite honestly, I think it's going to help us. And, you know, I can't wait to get this thing started in the fall. It's going to be a building process, but we're really excited about where this is going.
All right, one last question for you about your move. I noted that you're a big outdoorsman. You love to hike. Have you figured out how you're going to scratch that itch here in Chicago? Are you looking around for the best hiking trails?
I have not yet. There's some time before I'm going to go hiking out here, but yeah, we're a huge outdoors family. Anything we can do, I would imagine we're going to spend a lot of time at the lake and the beach, play some volley out there, paddleboard, do those types of things. So again, we're super excited. You know, Chicago's a world-class city, and there's nothing better than Chicago and the beach in the summer.
It's balmy right now by Chicago standards. This is pretty good. You've lucked out. Tim Nollan, really a pleasure to get to visit with you a little bit. Congratulations on this new position, and we will look forward to watching the Wildcats under your tutelage.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
A former Nebraska women's basketball player has filed a civil suit against the school, accusing head coach Amy Williams and AD Trev Alberts, among others, of failing to protect her when a sexual relationship with a former team assistant became widely known. The player, Ashley Scoggins, said she feared retaliation if she resisted the overtures of the coach, then assistant Chuck Love. She is seeking unspecified damages from the school for the alleged violation of her civil rights. The school said it is aware of the suit and, quote, intends to vigorously defend this matter. Love was suspended with pay in February of 2022. On the same day, Scoggins was dismissed from the program. She now plays at UNLV. Love ultimately resigned several months after his suspension.